Welcome, good evening. Welcome to the Guilderland Board of Education meeting. It is February 10th. If you could please silence your cell phones and stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have our high school representative.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for your time. My name is Parth Surecha, and I'm the Board of Education representative, and it's such an honor to be here tonight, as always. Ryan wasn't able to make it in tonight because of sports, so it'll just be me reporting. First off, the student government met today after school to discuss a couple of things. The first thing we discussed is our flower carnation sale that's used as a fundraiser for student government. We're going to be selling flower carnations during student lunch mods on Thursday during lunch mods 1, 2, and 4. Cash only. So students can come and buy a flower carnation for a friend, family member or whoever they would like to give a flower to. Next up, we're also in the final stages of planning our Student Leadership Conference. So the Student Leadership Conference is something that happens annually with student governments from all around the area coming together, all the students coming together to discuss what they're doing in their schools, what they need to do, and kind of bouncing ideas off each other and getting to know each other. Every year, a different school is responsible for hosting the conference, and this year it's Guilderland's turn to host it. So we're going to be hosting that, and we're in the final process of actually getting the venue and getting everything set up. Next up, we've begun preparation for our annual cultural fair. Cultural fair is basically a day in the school, a day of the year where students set up booths to represent a country or a club or a group of people, and they set up in the West Gym lining the entire wall area, and students during their classes get to go down and actually get to look at these booths. And at these booths, there's food, there's games, there's music, food they can buy, and it's just a really great day overall. So this year, the students have just recently gotten their boots back. I'm representing Georgia with a couple of other people. So that's something that I'm really excited to see. This will be happening in April. Most likely, to my knowledge, it will be the day before April break. So the last day of school before break. Finally, the musical this year will be on March 12th to March 15th, and it will feature our very own students singing, dancing, and even playing instruments and getting music live during the musical. I'm really excited because the musical this year is Frozen, so definitely come out to watch that. That's all for me tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Public comment. We have one public comment from Justine Buckley. I just have something to read to you before you present. The Board of Education encourages public participation at its meetings and recognizes its responsibility to hear public comment. An acknowledgement of the public comment, either orally or in writing, will be provided at appropriate after the meeting. As a matter of practice, the Board of Education does not engage in dialogue during the public comment period. There will be 2 opportunities at each regular meeting for public comments, and we just ask that you be mindful of refraining from naming students or personnel in your public comment, and it is limited to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and good evening. My name is Justine Buckley. I'm a proud mother of 2 Guilderland Elementary students and a speech-language pathologist at Chalmont School District. I'm here tonight to address my ongoing concerns about the current and future ELA curriculum in Guilderland. First and foremost, the point of my message tonight is to advocate for 2 important groups within our district, our educators and children. Guilderland's current approach to balanced literacy is outdated. While our classrooms are enriched with fantastic educators and deep language exposure, the current ELA curriculum is not concise, scientific, and transparent for families and children. This administration has continued to guide and direct our teachers to use balanced literacy within our classrooms. However, these practices do not align with the science of reading guidance as directed by New York State. I believe it is a time to embrace the research with science of reading. What is science of reading? I have provided the Board of Ed with visuals that will help explain the specifics of this subject. Let's start. Number 1, looking at the reading ladder, you will find it is advantageous to most learners, 95%, and critical for 65% to receive a structured literacy approach. What does that mean? The majority of students require a systematic scope and sequence of phonics skills to learn word
23.
For example, some programs like
So far here in
Foundations,
the
UFly, MZ, and CKLA focus
third
on
quarter
student
play, the Lady
reading,
Dutch outscoring the
a
Falcons
decodable
9-7.
text that emphasizes a targeted phonics skill.
We are all tied up at 38
Balanced
apiece.
literacy
As Coach
focus on
Friel looks
predictable patterns
to get
and
things in some more
non-decodable
order here
words.
for his team.
The benefits of structured
Playing
literacy
very
for
well
sound
against a
development
tough opponent
are
in Albany
crucial
tonight.
for students that receive intervention services, special education services, and or are EL learners.
And so far for the Lady
In
Dutch
the
tonight,
reading rope,
in terms of
structured
leading
literacy
scores, they
approaches
have
addresses all of the strands
3
on the left
players
side
leading
of
the way with
visual,
the same total. They have
where
Emily
balanced
Bigness,
literacy
Ileana
primarily
Engelson,
focuses on
and
language
Christina Williams, each
comprehension.
with 10 tonight.
Balanced literacy does
As for
not
the
have
Falcons,
enough of an
Janae Byram's
emphasis
with
on
15
the word
to lead them, but
recognition,
she hasn't recorded
and
a
you
point
need
yet
all of
here
the
in the third.
components to be working together. For example, one component
We
of
are
science
back
of reading
underway as
focuses
Williams
on
gets the
utilizing
pass forward to Emily
orthographic mapping
Bigness.
to achieve fluency of sight words, where balanced literacy focuses on memorization skills. Focusing on memorization skills places too much demand on a child's mental load and is no longer supported with current research. Looking at the simple view of reading, what do you get when you multiply something by 0? Nothing. If students are unable to read a word fluently or demonstrate language comprehension, they are unable to become a skilled reader. In conclusion, our educators and children deserve to have an enriched curriculum that is based in scientific research, incorporates cultural diversity, systematic and explicit teachings, a clear and concise scope and sequence of language skills, and materials to provide home. I recognize this is not easy because no curriculum is perfect. However, I am hopeful that our district will look forward based on science, research, and proven methods to assist in making an informed decision that aligns with the best practice. Thank you.
Now we have the Guilderland Teachers Association.
Everybody.
Welcome.
So last month, at the board meeting, Blanca had asked or mentioned that maybe the Teachers Association leadership would like to come and speak. So my name is Emily Mino. I've been teaching 6th grade for 29 years, 27 of them here in Guilderland, and I'm the president of the Guilderland Teachers Association.
My name is Joe Winchester. I've been teaching for 22 years at the middle school. I've taught 7th grade, 8th grade, bio, earth science, all kinds of things there, as well as some summer programs like the butterfly program in the summer and things like that. I'm vice president of the Teachers Association.
So we weren't exactly sure what it is that you're looking for from us in terms of what you want to hear from the Teachers Association. So we kind of just put together a little bit of basic information about who we are, the kind of causes that we get behind, our mission, and then we're happy to take questions and talk a little bit more about if you are looking to hear from us down the line, on a more regular basis, like your student report. So I'm sure you've seen this already, but ultimately we follow a mission just like any organization does, and that centers largely around not only producing quality public education, but also collaborating with all the stakeholders in the school community. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to.
No, I mean, I think you bring up a good point, which is, that we work with administration, we work with the community, it's from all directions, which is pretty much what you said there. We're not going to read this word for word, but, those are the three, big things, coming at it from all directions.
It also occurred to us that there are people in the room and people watching at home who may not know when the GTA got started and what that's all about. So we actually first earned our accreditation in 1973. So we celebrated our 50th birthday with a plaque a couple of years ago. And the AFT and NYSET have kind of recognized us in that way. We have lots of affiliations and awards for our activism and the level in which we kind of contribute to different political causes and actions. But I think it's important to note that there are 550 members in the Guilderland Teachers Association. So we talk a lot as we enter budget season, that school districts are, the biggest expense is personnel, right? And we make up a huge portion of that personnel. And even though our name is the Guilderland Teachers Association, we're really the Guilderland Faculty Association because we cover Within our association are nurses, speech language and speech pathologists. We have our PPS folks, so our counselors, social workers, occupational therapists, physical therapists, school psychologists. So the Teachers Association covers far more than just teachers. And so I think it's important that everybody be aware of that because that's not the structure in every local school district. In some school districts, some of those members are in a separate unit. Here in Guilderland, they're part of the Guilderland Teachers Association.
The only thing I'll add there is we do have a social media presence, which I don't think we put it up there, but it's at Guilderland TA.
Yeah.
So that's on like Instagram, things like that. And so that's where you can also see some of the activities that we participate in, which I think is on the next slide, actually.
And many of you do follow us, so thank you. We take pride in our community events, in looking at supporting more than just inside the walls of the school building. A few of the things that we are really proud and actively working towards are not only supporting children in the district, but the community at large. So we recently started a social justice committee. We were awarded a grant that is allowing us to fund that. You may have seen some of the things on social media, our Lasagna Love, where we're working this year on food insecurity. We've worked on some literacy events. You may remember last year, we had the great big AFT-sponsored first book event at Farnsworth where we gave away, what's it, like 25,000
It was lots
books
of
or
pallets
something
of
like
books,
that?
I'll
Yes.
tell you that.
We had seventh graders climbing in the pallets
Yeah.
to get the books out for us. And so, that was a great event. We do run and maintain 3 Little Free Libraries in the district catchment in neighborhoods. Our TA unit runs a toy drive every year that benefits, out into the community. And we have been a part of Guilderland's National Night Out with the police department for several years at Tawasunta Park every summer, which is a great event. If you haven't had a chance to go to that, it's free. Stewart's comes and gives away ice cream usually the whole time.
Fireworks.
Fireworks are there. And so we like to be present in the community outside of the school so people see us as a real integral part of our network.
And we also build some of these things into our budget as well, like the Social Justice Committee, that was grant funded to start, but like, we now support that budgetarily as well, so, not just boots on the ground, but also, financially as well.
Buying the pasta.
That's right.
We also obviously work with the school district. I'm not sure if everyone is aware, but the Guilderland Teachers Association fully funds the GEMS Mentors program. So all of our mentors, all of our, the novice probationary teacher support program is run, planned, funded by the Guilderland Teachers Association in conjunction with the Curriculum and Instruction Office. We're looking to maybe partner with the district down the road on that and kind of expand that program, but stay tuned and hopefully we'll have some more with that. We have committee members, we have members sitting on pretty much every committee in the district, from future task force to district-wide safety team, DEI, you name the committee, we have members sitting on it. We'll provide interview team members, often in the summertime as a volunteer basis. We're not paid for that work. And so that is something that we really do contribute to the school district.
I think the other thing that's significant here is that partnership with the district. The district is, I have to say, outstanding about always reaching out to us and helping us to make sure that we have that seat at the table with them. Like, I think the district values that just as much as we do. So I think that's a two-way street, and I wanted to point that out.
Ultimately, that's what we've prepared for you tonight. We'd be happy to come to board meetings bi-monthly or however, periodically you'd like us to kind of talk about some of the things that we're doing, both in the community and in the classroom. I know teachers do regularly invite board members to come in. Recently, I think Tara and Peter were able to come into an event that I had in my classroom. But if there are questions or other things that you have for us, we're happy to answer them. And we're happy to come back with other folks and share as well.
Thank you, that would be great. This is what we were looking for. We know that teachers are doing a lot to support, your officers and DTA in the community, and we just wanted to take a chance to recognize that and thank you for the work that you're doing to support students of the community.
Happy to do it. We are Guilderland lifers, so. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm going to do two presentations tonight. For the first one, I want to share our vehicle purchase proposition with the board and the community, as well as talk a little bit about some of the bigger picture components that go into the proposal we are making for this year's May ballot. And I want to start with an overview of the process we use before we put a proposition on the ballot in May. First, our directors of facility, our director of transportation, so Cliff Nooney and Inho Suh, develop proposals. They review our current fleet or vehicles and maintenance. What do we need now? What is part of our long-term plan? In maintenance, Cliff has a vehicle replacement plan. Inho has a bus replacement plan for maintaining our fleet, ensuring everything is up to date and safe and accurate and contemporary. Once we develop the specific proposals or propositions, we convene the business practices committee of the board. We share quotes, make our recommendations, and then the committee decides what to bring forward to the board. This is the step we're doing at this moment. We share the proposal with the board and the community as an informational item. And then at the next meeting, the board, if it chooses to, would vote to place the proposal on the May ballot. And then in May, the community would consider the proposal as a separate proposition on the ballot. For this year, I will talk about the facilities vehicle proposition because it's relatively small and Cliff couldn't be here tonight. He's looking to replace two vehicles. One is we have a 2012 Toro Groundmaster Batwing mower. That's the large mower with the wings that go down. He got approximate quotes for a number of potential alternatives. The most cost-effective is a John Deere that's around $80,000. This is much more expensive than in 2012 when we bought it, which is a recurring theme every time we talk about purchasing in general or vehicles specifically. And the second vehicle he's looking to replace is a 2008 Cub Cadet EX 3200 tractor. And the similar model is a John Deere 2038R that's approximately $45,000. Now I'm going to transition to talking about school buses. And before Inho comes up and talks about the specific buses that we're proposing for this year, I want to talk about bigger picture, the move to not recommending we purchase zero emission or electric school buses this year. To recap, 2 years ago, we put forward two propositions to the community. Both received very significant levels of support. One was our traditional or conventional school bus replacement plan, and one was for two zero-emission electric school buses, a large and a small bus. We currently own and operate those buses. Last year's proposition was for 5 electric school buses. We are in the purchase process, but have not yet taken delivery. They're not available, and we are working on getting the infrastructure for charging installed. We are also working with Wendell, an engineering firm, to conduct a fleet transition study. All 7 buses that we've either purchased or in the process of purchasing, as well as the fleet transition study, are supported by New York State through NYSERDA, which has a New York State Bus Incentive Program, NYSBIP. Because of that program and changes the state made to the calculation of transportation aid, all 7 vehicles are essentially cost neutral for the taxpayer. So we bought 7 buses that were functionally no net charge to the taxpayer. We've exhausted that incentive. So we've used up our current allotment. The state may at some point put more money into NYSBIP, in which case we would be eligible potentially for more bus support. But at this point, any vehicles we purchased, the community would bear the full price of. The state currently has a mandate for a transition to zero-emission pupil transportation, but they've modified it in recent years. So when it was first enacted, there's 2 components to the mandate. First is there's a date after which school districts cannot purchase vehicles for student transportation that are not zero-emission. That date initially was July 1st, 2027. The state has introduced up to 2 one-year potential waivers to push that deadline back until 2029. We are in the midst of preparing our application for a waiver, just in case, but it would not go into effect for a year. The state also has a requirement for all pupil transportation to be zero emission. That has not changed. It is still July 1st, 2035. So if that doesn't change, we have 9 years to get all of our vehicles zero emission, which, as we're going through our fleet emission study, the technology doesn't exist to transform all of our fleet to zero emission. Specifically, we're not recommending zero emission buses or electric buses this year because, as I said, we have no longer access to state incentives. Federal incentives have mostly gone away, so we wouldn't have access to those either. And there's been no change in the price gap between electric and conventional buses. One of the hopes with the incentives and trying to spur the market is that knowing the demand was there, the prices might eventually come down. They have not yet. So we're still talking about $300,000 more approximately to buy an electric bus than a conventional bus. A big specific factor for the district is any further buses we purchase will require significantly more infrastructural investment. And we just recently, voters approved a capital project this year. We're not breaking ground on that yet, but it does not include infrastructure for electric buses. Our hope is that by the time we develop a new capital project, we will have a better sense of where technology is, know what the state of the mandate is from New York, and be able to develop an appropriate infrastructural plan for, if needed, laying out vehicle chargers. And finally, with the potential for not being able to buy conventional buses as of July 1st, 2029, if not earlier, we need to be able to maintain our conventional fleet. So to get into the specifics of the proposal, I'm going to turn it over to our Director of Transportation in HOSA, who we are very fortunate has rejoined us in this role.
Good evening. I've just been on this job for just 2 months, so please bear with me. So here's our current fleet. As you can see, if you break it down, we have 21 diesel, 84 gas, and 2 electric. I would just simply add that given our temperature the last 2 weeks, electric school bus has not performed well. And if you have any questions about that, I'd be happy to field that question. I would say, given the situation that we find ourselves with a shortage of bus drivers, I would like to mention that our mechanics, majority of them are driving in the morning. They're also driving in the afternoon, including all the office staff as well, including myself. But yet our mechanics have performed really well. One of the reasons why we are proposing this bus purchase is every vehicle, DOT requires that every 2,000 miles that it gets preventative maintenance. Given that our mechanics are on the road significantly, and they have to do a DOT, a 7 vehicle every week, Tuesday, it is making it more challenging. I would also add that given that we've brought in all of the routes in-house, our vehicles are traveling much farther, much faster. So the ideal time to do the preventative maintenance is about 30 days. We are pushing that to 45. And it's just not an ideal, it's not a sustainable way of doing maintenance. So we are requesting that 5 big buses or 65 passengers be purchased. 3 what we would normally call small buses be purchased, and that 2 wheelchair buses be purchased along with a smaller SUV, Chevy Tahoe, where we transport a small amount of student, 1 or 2. So this is our proposal, this is our ask. Pending any question, that concludes my part.
So any questions for Inho on the purchase proposal? Any questions or comments on the larger electric bus presentation or momentary pause in the transition?
Go ahead.
Meredith.
I was just gonna ask, has anyone done a cost-benefit analysis on the cost of diesel and gas versus the cost of electric, and what the difference will be in the long run of running these buses?
I will say, so I will start and I'll let Inho jump in. There are studies out there. The studies out there, with a caveat, are often done by electric vehicle advocates or supporters, tend to show lower cost of maintenance, cost of operation. What I would strike as a cautionary note, and I think one of my biggest questions is, there is a presumption right now that electricity will continue to remain relatively cheap charging overnight and off hours. If we have thousands of school buses and a large growth in consumer cars and other appliances and smart charging going on, driving demand overnight, I don't know what the cost of electricity would be. So that is my sort of take on it, is the studies that do look at it tend to favor electric buses, but I don't know that the assumptions or the operating conditions would carry forward when we're fully electrified.
So then overall cost, right? Both cost of initial bus and cost of maintenance and cost of lifetime electrifying, or,
Charging.
thank you. Not charging, but what would you say for
Usage.
gas? Yeah, I guess usage.
Usage.
I mean, like, I drive an electric car. I have far less maintenance on my car now than I did when I drove an ICE, but other things go faster, right? It's a heavier vehicle, the tires go faster. In the long run, though, I know that I'm spending far less money to drive that electric vehicle. Is it the same with the buses? And how many years would a bus have to be operational for that gap to be closed?
So no one really has the exact data as to your question, because this is fairly new. I can also tell you that given my previous position, I've had a number of conversations throughout our state, and the electric bill versus the fuel cost, initially the state was expecting that the electric cost would be lower. That is not what we're discovering right now. It is actually more, significantly more. And so the state is working with electric companies to lower that cost difference. And so given that, if we were to electrify the entire state, there isn't enough electricity to power that's a question that I think many of the entities or stakeholders are asking in the state. Again, there isn't enough data to figure out how long will the tires and so forth. We just don't have that data. But the infrastructure cost would be absolutely significant. And that is the number one reason throughout New York districts why they are slowing this progress.
So in the development for the capital project, there was a part of the project where we looked at adding infrastructure behind the current maintenance building that would accommodate a quarter or a third of our fleet. And it got to the point where that was going to eat up a huge portion of the capital project for buses that we weren't sure when we would purchase. And again, when we invest in the infrastructure on that scale, what happens when charging technology advances, all of those things.
And that's for
we
level
just-
3?
Well, we were looking at, yes, we were looking at faster chargers and
Okay.
that, being able to accommodate faster chargers. So having to lay all the lines, making sure we have access to this appropriate level of power.
Go ahead.
In my day job, I was actually fortunate to go to the New York Association of People Transportation, their legislation day, and I am so they got to hear me like so excited that we're not buying the electric school buses. There's so many different figures involved that, I mean, I know I never even knew of where, I mean, just one example is to get the actual warranty. You have to come in, I believe, when you come in from your run, your battery has to be at 20%, but then there's another percentage that it has to hit with the cold weather. They're not performing. Infrastructure, like the buses, typically, I know in California and a lot of places are following suit, the buses have to be within 12 feet of each other because if one goes up, then you're dead in the water. But this was a mandate that was created before the data. And even the data that was created to put this mandate in place was data that was, I think it was a diesel study from 2006, that they actually did it based on buses from the 1980s. So it wasn't even a data point that should have been used in the factor at all. But it would be outrageous, and I won't go into huge detail, but Shen actually had their person in charge of transportation come in and do a whole presentation. And they only have 6 electric buses they were talking about transferring over. 4 of them have been in maintenance for weeks. They are not working. Another one got stuck on the charger because there's a turtle mode apparently where if something goes wrong, the turtle shows up on the thing and you don't know if there's an issue with the charger or with the unit, but they haven't been able to use them. And even with their infrastructure, it would be the same price, the same cost as their entire budget. Like it's insane.
And I don't know where I read it, that the buses electric buses have to be a certain distance apart.
That's what she's saying, 12
Yeah.
feet.
Right, so if one
Case
goes on
fire.
fire, they all
Because
won't
of the
blow up.
the
Yeah.
batteries are just,
There's no
They burn until they
actual
burn out.
guide. I would say the largest theme of the transition at this point and why we're pausing,
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
2 factors. One, the unknowns are far greater than the knowns, and the costs have not decreased as advocates might have hoped. I would say those are the 2 things. Because people say that, but we asked our insurance company, we looked at fire associations, there's no hard guidance about what you need to do to be compliant or to cover yourself if there is a fire.
Yeah.
and there's no pilot. That was what the association was saying, that you have districts that are utilizing the buses, but yet there's no specific pilot and there's no data, there's nothing.
Okay.
You know?
Yep. Sorry. So just from like a sheer safety perspective, if we don't have guidance on that, what that would be, is it wise to bring those in? And then with this, with the 5 that aren't here yet, are they still definitely coming? And then you mentioned behind the maintenance building of putting them there. How is that going to factor in and be utilized?
So I would say they are not ready for delivery yet. Just as one of the reasons perhaps that the cost hasn't come down is that the production hasn't gone up. We are not alone. Districts across the state have tried to buy buses, in some cases waited for well over a year to be able to take possession of them. So our buses are not available to be delivered. They're not there yet. When they are, we will have to have chargers installed, and we are currently working, INHO and Cliff Nooney are working on developing a plan for installing chargers for them. I will say, because Meredith brought up different levels of chargers, we are using the level 2 or quote-unquote slow chargers now because the routes we'll be putting these buses on are the smallest ones, the ones that are most able to accommodate slow charging. We are not investing in more expensive chargers that require more power.
So for the sake of just throwing this out there, is it too late that we have these 5 coming? I mean, are we able to accommodate them? Is it like a done deal kind of thing? If they're not here yet?
I would
Free.
I would say we've purchased them, we've received the incentive, they are cost neutral to take possession of. I think it makes sense to go forward with the purchase, because we are still learning from the experience. I mean, Inho talked about how extreme cold has affected the buses.
One of the ways in which state ed will also consider giving the two-year waivers is if they were to have experience with electric school buses. So that is a factor. I did have a conversation this week with our vendor. They are saying, or he has said, that delivery will most likely happen in July or August if our charges are in place. So that is what we're moving towards.
So if our chargers are in place, so they will, skip us if they're not?
So they will
Or,
not deliver the electric bus if the charges are not ready.
Are the chargers going to be ready?
I know, that's,
We're working on it.
So we have to get the charges first, and then we get the buses.
Correct.
Okay.
is that their standard contract?
Cart and horse.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you buy something and then maybe you get it?
Well, you got to get the you got to have the batteries.
Well, we have level 2 chargers.
We have two.
Two. They need more.
Yeah,
obviously.
So my question's a little broader, and it's not necessarily about the proposition, but it's more about the advocacy piece. I understand the New York State School Board Association, maybe there's other organizations that are advocating with our government officials. But what else are we doing as a district to help those conversations move forward? Because it seems pretty clear
Me and Kim tomorrow.
that
Kim and I are
this
lobbying
needs
tomorrow.
to be,
Yeah.
we need to be in our elected officials' ears about these
Oh, yeah.
things.
You can call
as well
them.
as other-
I can give you the phone numbers.
I can
Just
tell you,
call.
New York
call.
State PTA is advocating for it.
Right, but
All I
that's
would
another,
say-
that's another outside group, right?
I've spoken to ours.
No, but you as
Thank you.
a,
I have, yep.
Thank
you as a resident can also always call too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
make a lot of,
yeah.
I do. I make a lot of phone calls.
Thank you.
I have
Rebecca,
The
did you have a
superintendents,
question?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
school boards, business officials, PTA. I think there is a strong, I would say mostly unified voice across the educational advocacy for pointing out the cost, the need for support for cost, the need for modifications, the pause, all of those components. The other thing advocacy organizations have been pushing has been, so someone mentioned a pilot, but rather than putting a mandate out there, fully electrify, a couple districts in different places and see what they experience, because we would learn much more from that than what we've done so far. But-
Yeah, that's so,
Yeah.
that would be too logical, Andrew.
Can I ask a logistical question on the purchase of these 5 that were approved? How is payment like a down payment and then paid upon delivery, or like, how's that working? Or did we already upfront the money and we're in the process of doing what we need to
Pay
do?
for them. We borrow funds to pay for them.
Yep.
And then we receive state aid on an assumed amortization schedule in line
Right.
with our payments,
Yep.
which is why I say functionally.
Yep.
Like, it's not 0, cost, because our actual debt structure could slightly differ from the assumed amortization structure, but it would be negligible, right? So they're functionally
Functionally.
no cost.
No cost. Okay, thank you.
So it's the structure over the life of the debt. We receive aid in step with the typical payment over that lifespan.
Thank you.
We have a presentation that we could go back to where Andrew goes over that process that we could get to you.
My last question, I hope. Are the electric buses on the same preventative maintenance schedule? It's exactly the same?
Yes.
2000.
Thank you.
I chuckle because everybody is trying to catch up with the law. I would also say that that the governor never reached out to the state ed or DOT for their suggestions about this mandate. And so, but to answer your question, yes, 2,000 miles is the standard, and that is what they're going to keep to.
Welcome back.
I will just add,
Thank you.
we're fortunate to have Inho back. But for those who don't know, he was the director of people transportation for the state education department. So he brings back with him a wealth of knowledge about transportation across the state and the country that is going to be very valuable as we try to go through this.
Thank you. Budget update? You're still up, Andrew.
Switching. Grab a sip of water.
That's how you know we asked a lot of questions.
Anyway, so this is.
Sorry.
This is a very important conversation to have, and this is our typical vehicle proposition lays out the plan, how it fits in our schedule, moving forward. This was a much larger conversation about really big picture strategy, and so I appreciate all of the comments and the feedback. Today I'm going to talk first about fund balance and reserves and their role in the budgeting process on a yearly basis, and then as part of a long-range strategy. And then I'm going to specifically talk about the capital reserve and a proposal I want to bring to the board and hope the board brings to the community. In the fall, at a board meeting, we had a very good conversation about the role of surpluses, fund balance, and reserves in the budgeting process. And I want to pick that back up with some data, but first I want to define the terms I'm going to use. So there are 4 categories of fund balance. Appropriated is money you apply to the following year's budget to reduce property taxes. That is, instead of a levy, it's using fund balance to fill in a budget gap. We assign fund balance to carry over to pay year-end bills, so encumbrances that carry over. It's usually a very small amount of money. Restricted is money that's set aside for legally authorized purposes. And finally, there's unassigned, which is the contingency for emergencies. Those are the 4 categories. Generally speaking, for the rest of the presentation, or when we talk in future presentations, we talk about fund balance and reserves. And when we say fund balance, we really mean that unassigned, unappropriated fund balance. That is the amount of sort of cash a district can carry forward to the following year. It's limited to 4% of the following year's budget. And then we'll talk about reserves, which are those restricted designated use categories that are legally authorized. Every reserve is established by New York state law, and they have very particular restrictions about them regarding establishment, use, funding, lifespan, transferring money in and out, applicability. Reserves that we have include our capital reserve, which we use for building improvements or site improvements, our tax certiorari reserve, which the board has great experience with, unfortunately, over the last few years. These are funds we can put in a reserve to cover the anticipated costs of tax grievances. There's a retirement contribution reserve. There's actually 2 of these, so one for TRS and one for ERS. There's an employee benefit accrued liability reserve. This is a reserve to cover those costs for employees other than salaries, so buyouts, vacation, sick, all those payments. Workers' compensation reserve and unemployment reserves, those self-explanatory, to cover expenses related to workers' comp or unemployment. One of the most important points with the overall use of fund balance and reserves is the single greatest danger a district can get itself into financially is using one-time funds to cover recurring expenses. That is, plugging a budget gap in a single year in order to quote-unquote balance a budget, then having to fill that in the following year, And districts across the state experienced this in the Great Recession as pullback in federal funds affecting the state budget withholdings from school districts led to school districts facing a significant loss of funds relatively quickly. Districts had to plug that somehow. Districts often made cuts as well as using fund balance and found themselves, in a fiscal cliff. But I also want to talk today about ways to appropriately use it, because reserves are not just kept to be funded in perpetuity and never spent. One of the other takeaways from today is that we ideally would have a budget surplus as part of a long-term healthy financial plan. So over the past few years, and really for every year a school district operates, we encounter unanticipated expenses. So when we develop our budget, we think the district might have to spend next year. And this year, we had to purchase election machines and equipment. We've covered that in previous meetings, but after the vote last year, the county informed us it was no longer supporting elections. So we have purchased voting machines. We're buying the support and equipment that goes with that. We did repairs in the tennis court. Again, that came up after the budget was adopted. We're expanding. We have to issue contract transportation. And this last point, I want to sort of use as an example of how we approached budgeting. So as we were at this point last year, our projection was that we would have no contract transportation in 25-26. We could have said, okay, let's hold that budget line at zero, or maybe very small, because there are a few expenses that fall into that, but not the significant ones we've encountered in previous years. But our strategy was, what happens if we have to add contracts? And so we sharply reduced that line, which is what was a big part of developing this year's budget, but we kept money in it in case we had to encounter contracts. And as Inho mentioned during his presentation, we are at a point now where we have returned to being severely short-staffed, and we have, when we get to the action items under the business agenda tonight, there's approving first the emergency contract and then the bid-out contract for our first private transportation contract. There may be other ones that eventually have to come up over the course of the school year, and we are almost certainly going to have to contract next school year. So this is something, an expense that arose that we had budgeted money for the possibility of, and we're able to fit in that budget line. Other ones, we have to find the money somewhere, right? So we didn't just in case buying election machines budget line. That was a sheerly unanticipated expense. In years prior to this, we had significant tax certiorari refunds. I won't beat that drum tonight, but that was $5-10 million total over that time period that really affected budgets, both in the years they took place and in subsequent years. We've had expenses with contract transportation that arose beyond what was budgeted. We've had special education placements that were identified after the budget was passed. A family moves into the district with children with significant needs. And those are all things we try to forecast for, but can't always anticipate. So we're in the midst of budget development now. We look at what is our reasonable estimate of expenses and revenues. We use the budget as our plan for accomplishing our vision and our mission and our goals. Just as GTA in their presentation shared their mission, there's a lot of alignment with what we want to do, right? We want to educate all kids, make them future ready, all those components. Our budget is our roadmap or our plan for how to accomplish that. The means of developing it is we have extensive internal collaboration with administrators across the district. We are a district that is big on shared decision-making, on collaboration. So we, starting in early October, district office team has met with administrators in large and small groups, one-on-one meetings for budget review for this year and budget proposals for next year. We just completed the thought exchange yesterday. I want to thank all the community members and Gilderland School District members who completed that. That feedback is very valuable. And then we work with you, the board. We get direction on the budget. We get final approval on the budget. Rests with the board. Specifically to this presentation, our fund balance and reserves are generally funded through budgetary surpluses at the end of the fiscal year. So we identify surpluses at the end of the fiscal year. We share a plan for funding them. That is often done late summer as we've closed the books, have our final numbers, worked with our auditor, and we develop the plan that then we implement as we finalize the previous year's finances. And the recurring theme, this is part of our long-range financial planning. I'm going to share a graph I've shared each year since I began doing this. Our fund balance and reserves is a share of our budget compared with our peers. And we see the dip to 10.1% was the tax certiorari experience. Not solely, but that was by far the largest driver there. And the board in 23-24 and 24-25 talked about wanting to close this gap, wanting to shore up our fund balance and reserves. Where we are right now as a snapshot at the end of last fiscal year is we are close to our suburban council peer districts. This is where I also want to bring up that this is a process. It's not a straight line going up, because our capital reserve fund is one of the largest drivers of closing that gap, and it's a fund we are using. So capital reserves are one of the funds one of the reserves that we fund and then use. So for that 18.8% of our overall total, the Future Ready Capital project that was approved in May allocates $4.525 million from the capital reserve into the project. That lets us offset taxes. It lets us, by having these levels of reserves, lower our borrowing costs, maintain our positive credit rating. Once that is, because this 82.8 was the end of the fiscal year, the transfer of that into the capital fund will lower our 18.8% to 15.2%. Right? So it's, again, trying to show that ideally we have surpluses, we use and we put in reserves as part of a long-range plan to offset, in this case, taxes that we would ask the community to support for a capital law 3651. They're time limited, so they have a 10-year probable life at the most. They have defined purposes. Often it's improving site work, improving buildings. They have a maximum amount they can be funded, and then they have a defined source of funding. Voters have to authorize both creating them and spending from them. So we could not take that $4.525 million from the capital reserve without having voter authorization to do so, which was part of the capital project ballot. Our current capital reserve was authorized in 2017, so it has another year of life left in it. But we have reached we are near the maximum funding amount. So it's functionally time to reauthorize the capital reserve. The Business Practices Committee met and discussed capital reserve scenarios and chose to recommend to the board that we put forward on the May ballot a capital reserve proposition with a 10-year lifespan for a maximum funding amount of $20 million. And expand the allowable uses. So the current one was used for allowable uses of improvements in buildings and sites. Also add vehicle purchases to that, so we could make potentially buying vehicles part of our reserve plan, especially if we end up having to transition to more expensive vehicles. We will be able to accommodate some of that through our use of reserves, and then we would fund it from existing reserves and district fund balance. questions or comments on either general content on fund balance reserves or the specifics of the capital reserve itself or the proposal. And like the vehicle one, this is informational. At the next meeting, we would have the board vote on putting it on the May ballot, and then in May, the community would vote on the proposition. Becca?
And this particular ballot item, that would be a separate
It's a
line
separate
item.
proposition item, yeah. So it was voted on in 2017.
And is there any impact beyond the budget itself to the taxpayer for voting for that?
No, in that the amount of it is just the maximum level of funding, so we are not committed to putting any money into it. That's just the maximum we could put into it, and that's over 10 years. So that's less than 2% of the budget each year, and if things continue to grow as they are, so percentage-wise, it's a dollar increase from 10 years ago, but it's not. The budget itself has grown in that time.
I'm sorry, I just have one other question about that. You mentioned expanding the allowable uses of that to vehicle purchases. Because, it sounds like it's very prescriptive about what you could use that fund for. Should we expand it even more?
We did talk about this. My thought is, so capital reserves themselves can be authorized for anything that districts can borrow for, like to issue debt for. The next 10 years, between potential capital project usage and potential vehicle usage, I don't think there would be a scenario where we have additional needs that there would be funds to accommodate. So in other words, were we to reach the maximum $20 million in funding, that would help offset the tax impact of a capital project and or the tax impact of vehicle purchases. And if we were to reach a point somehow where we had funded it and expended it, we could bring to the community another ballot proposition. And if we had additional uses we wanted to put on there, we could expand them. But I think over this next 10 years, these are the purposes we would use the funds for.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other?
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the consent items, minutes, CPSE, CSE recommendations, financials, and personnel action? Meredith, Tara?
One thing though, actually. Sorry.
About consent items or the previous?
The consent item for
Okay.
the
So we have the motion, questions, comments? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm probably being a little bit fastidious here, but where it lists the occupation and congratulations to those retiring, I just want to say that it says actually it was corrected. So never mind, there was a change already made. I noticed something written interestingly, but it's fine. So now I'm good. Never mind.
So you're good?
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor? Passes 7-0. Curriculum and instruction information.
Good evening. I'll start this evening with a textbook review for your information. This is Impact. It's a National Geographic workbook for use with ENL students in grades 3 through 8. If anyone would like to take a flip through it, I'll leave it here at the end of the meeting. And that is going to be up for your vote in not this next meeting, but the meeting following.
Okay.
And I have 2 accolades this evening. First, the Guilderland Music Department is proud to announce that 9 students have been recognized by the New York State Band Directors Association. Each year, from hundreds of applicants, honor band members are chosen based on their NISMA score from the previous spring. Each ensemble rehearses and performs during the New York State Band Directors Association's annual symposium held in Syracuse in the first week of March. This year's symposium and honor band performances are March 6th through the 8th. Selected to perform in the high school honor band are Crosby Balil on trombone and Aaron Vitelli with trumpet. Performing with the middle school honor band are Vinay Kunredi with trumpet, Andrew Padula trumpet, and Elisa Sikander with trombone. Emila Padula bassoon, Alex Parmiter percussion, and Corinne Pinder flute are recognized as alternates for the high school band, and Ria Choi with flute is recognized as an alternate for the middle school band. Selection to this prestigious ensemble demonstrates exceptional musicianship and is an outstanding accomplishment. Congratulations to these fine young players and to their teachers, Mr. Gregory Clark, Mr. John Fatuzzo, Ms. Alexis St. Clair, and Mr. Jason Utter. And second is an art student accolade from the high school. We are delighted to share with you that 10 sculptures and 21 student artists were chosen for the 2026 Art in 3 Dimensions exhibition at Mohonasen High School. The Art in 3 Dimensions competition was open to all high school students in the Capital Region. With 16 high schools participating this year, 241 works of art were submitted and 79 were selected. The show was juried by Adam Friendlin and Jillian Hirsch. The opening reception is tomorrow, Wednesday, February 11th at Mohonasen High School from 6 to 8 p.m. And Guilderland High School is part of Group 2, which is from 7 to 8 p.m. There's a snow date of Thursday, February 12th. And the exhibition will be on display February 2nd through the 26th. The students who had work chosen for the show from Guilderland are Chris Gangadin, Ari Choi, Emmeline Friedman, Xiaohan Gao, Emily Rosen, Segundo Kashlima Pelton, Duncan Shaw, Jaden Barlin Romano, Genevieve Raguso, Kylie Goey, Dakota Dominguez, Reese Castleman, Jenna Hutek, Cadence Rupchand, Gusapina Santello, Elena Masterson, Shazia Husai, Jenna Curry, Marufa Akhtar, Ellie Stoddard, and Mariana Perez Ramos. Congratulations to all the students selected.
All right, for a superintendent update, the first item is review of the 26-27 calendar. There is likely going to be a move of the Superintendent's Day in March from the 17th to the 10th on the original draft. That will be finalized for the next time that you see it. And there will be potentially another date in June in observance of Juneteenth. That is up for discussion at this point. Those are the only two changes to that proposed calendar for the 26-27 school year. The second item I have is upcoming GHS Guilderland Players and FMS Mass Productions. FMS Mask is doing Newsies Juniors, and they will be conducting their show between Friday, March 6th and Sunday, March 8th. The Friday and Saturday performances will be at 7 p.m., and the Sunday performance will be at 2 p.m. Pre-sale tickets are $9. They'll be available starting on March 2nd through Friday, March 6th, and tickets at the door will be $10, cash or check. Payment is accepted. Ticket reservations for $10 can also be picked up at the counter by reserving by email. And the Guilderland Players, as my student ex officio board member already reported to you, will be doing Frozen between Thursday, March 12th and Sunday, March 15th. They'll be doing 5 shows. The Friday performance will have an ASL interpreter, and tickets will be available on sale online for purchase after February break. All tickets and information will be on the district website.
Now on to me. Upcoming Board of Education election. It's hard to believe that we're talking about this already, but May 19th, petitions are available through the district clerk for any district resident who might be considering running for the Board of Education. 44 signatures of eligible district voters are required based on 2% of those voting in last year's election. There are 3 3-year terms on the board that will begin July 1st. In order to be eligible to run for the Board of Education, nominating petitions with 44 or more signatures from qualified voters in the district must be submitted to the district clerk on or before Monday, April 20th by 5 p.m. Anyone who has questions about the duties and responsibilities of the board, of being a board member, may contact the superintendent, board president, or any current member of the Board of Education. A candidate must be able to read and write, be at least 18 years of age, a qualified voter, and a district resident for at least 1 year prior to the date of the vote on Tuesday, May 19th. Further qualifications and information are in the packet available through the district clerk, Kim Tenyuk, at district office. Thank you. Back to you.
I have one action item for you this evening. It is the textbook that was submitted for use in grades 8 and 9, level 2 French, La Nouvelle Fille. I said that close to right. It translates to the new girl, by the way. So we do recommend your approval of that book.
All those in favor?
Motion
you have
to
a question?
approve.
Motion to approve. Yep. Thank you, Peter. Meredith? Questions? All those in favor? Thank you. Okay, school business management action items.
Thank you. I have several items for your consideration tonight. The first are service agreements, two agreements, one for interpreter services and one for client services.
Do I have a motion? Tara, Rebecca? Sorry, Nina. Okay. All those in favor?
Thank you. My next item is a college and the high school agreement with SUNY Schenectady County Community College for college credit during the 2025-26 school year.
Motion to approve? Nina? Kim? All those in favor? 7-0?
No, abstention.
Six.
Abstention,
One abstain.
please. Thank you. That's closely aligned to my work, so I need
Okay,
to
sure.
abstain.
My next item, as I alluded to earlier, is the emergency contract transportation. So this is a contract for emergency transportation services.
Motion to approve? Tara, Rebecca? All those in favor? 7-0.
And then related to this, the next item is the award the bid for the private transportation contract to the Raja Group.
Motion to approve? Meredith, Tara? All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
Thank you. My final item are two donations, one from Tori and Robert Reinert for art supplies to Altamont Elementary School. And the next is Turner Construction Company made a monetary donation to our K-9 program.
Motion to approve? Peter, Kim? All those in favor? 7-0. Thank you for those donations. Superintendent action items.
All right. There is only actually one item up for approval tonight in the co-curricular club approval. That the board approves the following requests in the form of new extracurricular clubs at Farnsworth Middle School flag football. Mr. Mark Reindeers as the advisor.
Okay. Motion to approve? Meredith, Tara? Any questions, comments? All those in favor? Passes 7-0. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I apparently should have had my glasses on
Oh,
tonight.
okay.
Sorry about that.
Did we miss something?
Oh, yeah, there's a couple more. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
All on me. The next one is for foreign travel approval, recommending to the board an international trip to be approved to take place during the 26-27 school year for high school students, grades 9 through 12, February 25th, 2027 through February 28th, 2027. They're going to Quebec City, Quebec with Miss Baudette from the French department.
Nice.
Are they going for Carnival?
I don't think so.
Missing out.
Motion to approve? Peter, Rebecca? Any questions, comments? All those in favor? 7-0. I think you have one more.
I do. And the DEI committee member update, the annual DEI committee member recruitment will begin next month. There are members currently no longer serving on the DEI committee, and primarily due to resignation or a member no longer participating. So I recommend that you accept the resignations of 3 members and the removal of one individual who no longer participates.
Okay. Motion to approve? Meredith. Nina? Any questions, comments?
Over on an island.
Over here.
All those in favor? 7-0, passes 7-0, okay. I don't have any action items, so we'll go on to board committee reports. Audit committee?
We haven't met, and we don't have a meeting scheduled.
Okay. Business practices committee?
Oh, well, Andrew
Yes,
shared
you-
everything we talked
okay.
about, so, thanks, Andrew.
You don't want to go over it again?
Nah, you want me
Okay.
to? I mean, no, I'm kidding, kidding.
Communications, we just met before this meeting, and again, we're talking about going over ways to help make sure that the community remembers that we have changed our voting locations and getting out information to the community on the upcoming budget as it develops and we have more information to share out. We will meet again before the next regular board meeting. DEI?
You meet tomorrow? Yeah, we're meeting tomorrow, yep.
And policy.
Policy has an upcoming meeting on February 23rd. We have some policies to review, edits from School Board Association suggested edits, and we're continuing our work on what AI policy may or may not look like for the district, and that is a very involved conversation.
Thank you. Do we have any more public comments? Let's see. No? Okay. So then on to board issues, ideas, and sharing. Peter?
I'd just like to share a little bit about our future city teams in the district, and feel free to jump in. So I think, last June, it was approved here at the high school, and that group is moving on to nationals in their first year through Mr. Rice is the advisor who's provided space, and they jumped right in to design their farm to table future city, and the national competition is highly competitive, and both teams are well prepared to represent Guilderland proudly. There's prize money involved quite a bit. I think it's around $20,000 if they win at the national level.
Plus each student gets a scholarship as well. I think it was like
Yep.
10,000.
Oh gosh,
for
wow.
each.
And that they're competing at Future City National Finals. It's actually next week, February 14th to the 18th in Washington, D.C. The middle school, do you want to talk about the middle school team?
I can't pull up my email.
Here you
I'm so sorry.
So the middle school and the high school are going?
Yes, the middle school also has a team of 18 students. Teacher advisors, Kelly Werner and Carlene Ford, Miller Ford, engineer mentor Jennifer Smith. They earned their spot winning the regional competition in January, making their 4th consecutive trip to nationals. The FMS team placed first 2 years ago and second last year. They came actually and presented to the board.
Yeah.
Okay, this year the team has built a future city 3D model. This was the one Wicked for Good theme. So a city that changed for good to provide a farm to table healthy living.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty cool.
That's amazing, yeah, I heard it's so great.
And so, ensuring that, with a new club to have that much success, that's a lot of the student members who were involved last year at FMS and had their success
Yeah.
there. So I'm sure that they're looking to expand and continue to do their great work. Oh, here's the prizes right here. Sorry, I just need to scroll. Middle school top prizes. First place at the finals is $10,000 for the organization, sponsored by Bentley Systems. Second place is awarded a $5,000 prize for the organization's STEM program, sponsored by Shell. Third place is $2,000 for the organization's STEM program, sponsored by Bechtel. Fourth and fifth place teams each received $750, sponsored by the National Council of Examiners for Engineering and Surveying. The high school top prizes this year are cash prizes and scholarship, sponsored by Discover E and the National Council of Examiners for Engineering and Surveying. First place is $20,000 for the program and a scholarship of $10,000 per student, up to $50,000. That's I think as a team, up to 50,000. Second place awarded 14,000 and a scholarship of $7,500 per student, up to 35,000. And third place is awarded 7,000 and a scholarship of 3,000 per student, up to 15,000.
Wow.
So good luck to all of our students
That's
presenting
incredible.
and
That's great.
next week.
Wow.
Anyone else? Meredith?
So I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention that the Albany County Legislature opened up a youth essay contest for Women's History Month. It's open to kindergarten through 5th grade, 6th grade through 8th grade, and 9th grade through 12th grade. Essays are limited to 250 words and open to all county students. And all submissions must include the required entry form. Winners will be selected by an internal panel of legislators and staff and will have their work posted on the county's website, receive official legislature certificates, and be recognized during the legislature's annual Women's History Month event scheduled for Friday, March 6th in the Kale Room of the Albany County Office Building. I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention.
That's great. What the age then? Oh,
So
9
it's-
to 12, okay.
Yeah,
Anyone else?
and it needs to be there by February 13th. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, that's Friday.
I'd also like to recognize all the great musical performances that occurred Saturday evening at the Pops concert. Wonderful evening, great performances. Kudos to all the teachers and all the students that participated.
I want to congratulate our hockey team. They participated in the Hockey Fights Cancer game, and not only did they play a strong game and win the trophy, but they helped to raise funds for Relay for Life. So a great cause also.
That's great.
Anything else?
Kind of,
You have one?
just
Sure,
a quick
great.
one. Just kind of to piggyback a little off of what Peter was saying, today at the high school, they did the concert for third graders to get kids excited
I love
about
that,
instruments and doing things. So the kids got to actually get up close with the instruments and hear them. And so I heard that the kids were just so super excited every time they recognized a piece or anything like that, but they loved it.
Awesome. Really cute. It's great.
Great. Thank you. Okay, motion to return to executive session. Meredith? Kim?
Do we need to go all in favor or we just go? Do we need to actually vote on that or we just go?
We have to.
I think we
All in
just.
favor?
Consent, good,
Yeah.
okay, good.
Whatever.
Yeah, we